This is certainly a unique day for this town of Churchill. I particularly want to say thank you to the Churchill Community Association for your kind invitation for me to be a participant in today's proceedings to celebrate the 50th anniversary in the history of this wonderful town we all love, Churchill. For me, I've been very fortunate to bear witness to the evolution of this town from day one of its existence. As Mike did say, having been raised on a dairy farm just down the road at Arnold's Road, for me these past 50 years have provided me with a unique opportunity to witness the transformation of a previously productive agricultural land used for dairy farming and along with beef and sheep grazing to what we see today, a substantial urban community, now accommodating more than 5,000 people with a terrific array of community infrastructure and sporting facilities. But as probably many of you will recall, this town's beginning could only be described as controversial. Why do you ask? At the outset, it was the intent of the state government of the day to replace the state-owned town of Yallourn with a new town. This was at a time when it was predicted that George, this is for you, George. This was at a time when it was predicted that a number of new power stations would be required here to meet the state's future demand for electricity. Latrobe Valley was booming in 1961, and the SEC anticipated that the 60,000 new residents would be required to come to the area over the next 40 years. And so as a result, saw the establishment of what was known then as the Hazelwood Joint Planning Committee, which consisted of Shire of Morwell and Housing Commission of Victoria representatives. Their role was to consider the future development of a town to be called Hazelwood. This provided a unique opportunity to create a planned modern design for a town situated, as it says in a brochure of the day, and listen to this, among mountains and undulating plains with the capacity to ultimately cater for up to 40,000 people from all walks of life, giving them exceptionally high living conditions with every possible amenity for a full community life. And so the Housing Commission of Victoria was in charge of developing the new model of town on a 3,000 hectares of farmland that had been compulsorily acquired. So originally, as I've already said, it was the intention of Morwell Shire Council that this new town would be known as Hazelwood. However, on the 24th of January 1965, the famous British citizen Sir Winston Churchill died. It was then that the state government's housing minister, Lindsay Thompson, advocated for the town name changed to Churchill to honour Britain's great wartime leader. The Cabinet of the day supported this view, and it was on the 15th of March. The 15th of March. What's today? The 15th of March 1965 that the proclamation of the township of Churchill was made. The matter didn't end there though. A committee of concerned local Hazelwood residents was then formed, including a president and a secretary, and a fellow called Eric Riley was secretary, and Eric sitting in the audience here today, just a cool 100 years of age. And and within a fortnight, the committee had received 1,100 signatures calling for the reinstatement of the old name Hazelwood. And interestingly enough, in December '65, the community was surprised by the Morwell Shire's decision to change the name of the new town back to Hazelwood. Eventually, the three main protagonists, the state government, Shire of Morwell and the Hazelwood Citizens Committee, agreed to await arbitration of the case by the Victorian Government's Place Name Committee. And so it was in November '66 the Place Names Committee decided in favour of Churchill. And interesting enough, and this one's for you again, George, a few days later, this is George from GDF Sewers, a few days later the new neon sign, Hazelwood, erected on the nearby Hazelwood Power Station, was switched on and could be seen from afar, shining defiantly. During '65 and '66 period, the town's evolution continued with a network of road crescents and courts appearing. The first house to be built in Churchill was completed, as we've already heard, in October 1965 on the west corner of Switchback Road on Howard Avenue. And Graham Ayres, who we've heard about today, along with his wife Gwen and their 5 children, moved in on Saturday the 30th of October. Soon after that, many more houses were completed, enabling the pioneers all to move in. For me and my wife Diane, who's here today, we moved into White Parade, Churchill, from Morwell in December '66 at a time when the good lady was expecting our first child. And that was Jeffrey, and he arrived on February '67. At that time, interesting enough, I was employed by the SEC of Victoria. And we were one of those families who could buy a new brick house in Churchill with a deposit of $200 and repayments of a monthly basis of $48 roughly a month. Just imagine that today. At this time there were no schools or shops in town. It's interesting to know that in 1966 the old Hazelwood South Primary School enrolment jumped from 27 to 218 as families moved into Churchill. So this required many portables to be set up around the old school building, and which you might recall was situated on Monash Way just near the corner of Glendonald Road. By 67 there were 800 people living in town. It was in 1968 the Churchill State School, and we know that the primary school today, was established in Howard Avenue. And as the town's population continued to grow, the Churchill North Primary School opened in February 76, followed by the Churchill Catholic Primary School in February 77. And before the shops were built in town, a bus was provided to take people to Morwell for shopping and other appointments. In those days, most families could only afford to have one car, which was usually needed to get to work, although carpooling did also occur for some. This is brief, Michael. Initially, a mobile snack bar served at the town's first cafe until the opening of the plaza and the commercial shopping centre in West Place in 67. But the topic of continuing conversation is the town's landmark, the town spire, or more affectionately known as the cigar, or for some of us, the bird's nest. Designed and built by the Housing Commission, the spire was always intended to be a unique, distinctive, tall structure that would stand out as a town symbol beacon, both day and night. I think you'll agree it certainly does that. So in those early days, most of the new residents had moved from the nearby Latrobe Valley towns where they'd lived, and their extended families still lived. On reflection, a key factor in galvanising this community together was the shared recognition of the need to work together for the urgent provision of community and sporting facilities. This could only be achieved by working together to achieve a common goal. An early achievement was the opening of Watson Park Kindergarten in 68. Other kindergartens followed, Walkley Park, Andrews Park and Glendonald. Now, though, we only have the preschool centre situated at the Churchill Hub across the road here. How things have changed. One very notable community facility, as has been mentioned, is the Churchill Community Health Centre, which was established in 1974. But the other thing I wanted to say is I can recall the time when the Gaskin Park Stadium was being built. From my memory, this building had been previously in use at the Hazelwood Power Station on the construction site. And thanks to strong community advocacy at the day by the Churchill community, the building was generously donated by the SEC of Victoria. Barry Dawes, who some would remember, the local timber and hardware store owner at the time, was part of a community group which took the initiative to relocate this building to Gaskin Park so that it could become Churchill's first indoor sporting facility, primarily catering for basketball, badminton and junior footy. There was a huge community effort by the community for the community, providing more recreational opportunities for, in particular, the young people within the town. The building had to be dismantled and re-erected at its new location, a huge task, but worth it for the town. Having said that, I'm reminded of the huge task undertaken by the footy club to relocate from Rosedale to Gaskin Park, the former pine board factory admin building in several modules, to be reassembled as the new social rooms for the club. Unfortunately, those social rooms were subsequently destroyed by fire. Another important step forward for the town has been the building we see across the road here that we know today as the Churchill District Community Hub, which opened as a community facility in May 2009. The underlying concept in developing the hub was to provide a multi-purpose one-stop shop venue that will bring a broad range of our community groups, organisations and agencies together at an integrated service facility in an atmosphere of support and inclusion. It was not only designed to be a community focal and meeting spot, but also to be a key factor to strengthen the east-west linkage between the university, the Churchill Leisure Centre and the town centre. And I think it's important to note that the development of the hub was the result of a unique consortium who engaged in significant collaboration, which resulted in substantial financial contributions being committed by the Latrobe City Council, Monash Uni, state and federal governments and the Churchill community itself. Today the hub is a striking symbol of what can be achieved through the establishment of a shared vision and the energy that can be harnessed through respect, cooperation and collaborative partnerships to achieve a critical outcome. In more recent times, the Latrobe City Council has facilitated and adopted a Churchill Town Centre plan, and this is part of it where we're sitting here today, which was prepared to develop an attractive, safe, accessible community and commercial centre that signals a sense of arrival in Churchill. Over the past 5 years, the plan has been progressively implemented through the rebuild of the West Place Shopping Centre, expansion of Hazelwood Village, reopening of the Churchill Hotel and the construction of the hub. A master plan for the east-west link between Phillip Parade and the University campus has also been completed and adopted by Council, which is aimed, as we said before, to strengthen linkage with the University. Much has been achieved by this town over the past 50 years in regard to infrastructure provision, yet there's still more to be done. Concerted efforts are continuing to have a synthetic bowling green in town. The provision of a pavilion at the regional hockey facility is also receiving focus, and like Linda said, and Margaret said, there's more. This town has delivered for our family. It has been a great place for our offspring, Jeff, Sue and Rodney, to start their journey in life. Our family has been indeed fortunate to have been able to access preschool, primary, secondary and tertiary opportunities for the most part within the town. How fortunate we are to have all education levels available locally, including Conai College and our university. We've also had the opportunity as a family to very proudly represent Churchill in many sporting arenas such as tennis, footy, basketball, cricket and soccer. Churchill over the years has gone from a Ministry of Housing town in the beginning to one which has now embraced significant private sector development, which currently continues to flourish today. I take this opportunity, as Russell did, to acknowledge all those from this community who in those early years stepped forward to provide the essential leadership to make things happen, even though at that time they had huge obligations to establish their own families in their new homes. The strength, resolve, interaction and determination of these people to achieve facilities for the town where none existed, and in the process create community pride, has been crucial in the town's development. The contribution of all of our service clubs over the years has been outstanding as well. The town's first minister, Peter Arch, Reverend Peter Arch, also played an important role upon his arrival in '65 and in helping to create a sense of belonging in the town, the church, and with the production of the Churchill News. To all those of our community who continue today to voluntarily serve our community, you are to be strongly commended for your continuing community service. I've certainly appreciated the opportunity to have an extensive involvement with both the Churchill Football Club and the Churchill Tennis Club. Some of my nostalgic memories of Churchill include having milk delivered to our home by Mr Kodike, who circulated on his special milk truck, Peter Tormey making home deliveries of heavy bags of household briquettes, receiving regular weekend home deliveries of soft drinks, and of course the regular weekend musical sound we heard when Mr Whippy Van came around. I'm sure you'll all agree Churchill has a very bright future and the social fabric will go from strength to strength as the years unfold. The completion of the town centre redevelopment, the interface of the community with the university and the gradual increase of residential development and increasing population within the town are all clear indicators that the future is bright and will continue to be a great place for families to grow together and enjoy all that life has to offer. Many new and lasting friendships have been made over the years. The town's heart and soul and community pride will continue to be created and revealed as the years go by. Congratulations and thanks to the Churchill District Community Association, particularly the working group members and all of the exhibitors who have been involved in creating this magnificent event today to mark the 50th year anniversary milestone of the town. To you all, very well done. And finally, there is a story that I've often heard which is supposedly about one of Churchill's hidden secrets. The story goes that it's very likely the sun will still be shining in Churchill when it remains foggy elsewhere in the valley. To you all, have a very momentous day. Thank you.
There's nothing left to say.
To commemorate the 50th anniversary of the proclamation of the town of Churchill.
Woohoo!